I've coached hundreds of men, the majority over 30, that were trying to get in great shape. And one issue that I constantly saw with their workouts was leading them to not see the progress that they wanted to see. So I want to break down what that issue is, why you're probably doing it as well, how you need to approach it in order to get the results that you want to get from your workouts. What's going on? My name is Montel Harden, personal trainer, strength and conditioning, and sports nutrition coach since 2017. Over that time, we've worked with hundreds of men, helping them drop body fat, build lean muscle, and get healthier than they've ever been. And one of the biggest things that we've had to do is help them figure out how to approach training from a technical perspective, but also from a mental perspective. So combining the two in order to make sure that you are doing the right thing inside your training. For credibility purposes, the exact thing that I'm about to talk about, we changed this up with Sean, and he was able to drop 60 pounds of body fat and reveal his abs in 6 months' time after months of spinning his wheels. So the biggest issue that I see is not scaling intensity properly. So the guy that I just showed you, my guy Sean, he was spinning his wheels for 6 months. He was training 6 days a week in the gym for 2 hours a day, trying to burn as many calories as he could, trying to sweat as hard as he could. He thought that pushing himself harder and harder and harder and harder was the only way to get good results. And it worked initially, but long term, he found himself drained of energy, dreading the fact that he had to go to the gym and work out, beating himself up, tearing himself down. He started getting injured. And this happens because the body does not respond to harder work. It responds to smarter work. You can't just think that pushing harder and harder and harder in and of itself is going to get you to where you need to be. The body is a machine, not a punching bag. If you're constantly beating it up, is going to stop performing the way that you want it to. The biggest thing that I see for guys, especially guys after 30, that maybe you've had your kids, you've been a few years into your career, some excess body fat is accumulated that you really want to get rid of really quickly, and it kind of crept up on you faster than you realized it did, is that you want to try to wash all of it out, 5-10 years of poor decision making and lack of movement. You want to wash all of that out in 3 months, and you want to do a HIIT workout every single day. You want to run 5 or 6 miles every single day. You want to go all out, max effort every single day, and you completely ignore and neglect recovery because that doesn't seem like what's going to get you to where you need to be. It's not effort. It's not work. It's not grind. It's not the mindset that you've been kind of forced to believe gets you great results. So recovery is the last thing on your mind. I'm going to let you know now, you will not get the physique, you will not get the health that you are aspiring for if you have the strategy and the approach of I'm just going to move as much as I can possibly move. I'm going to move my body to exhaustion every single day. It's going to be short-lived, and before you know it, you're going to be back on the couch, binging, skipping workouts, paying for a gym membership, or having spent a lot of money on a home gym that you are no longer utilizing because you approach your training the wrong way. So here's how I want you to approach it going forward. First off is I need you to scale and temper your training. Every day cannot be as hard as you can possibly go. So you need to have intervals of higher intensity days, and that's on the strength training side and on the cardio side. And then you need lower intensity days. So instead of a full out run, maybe you just do a light walk. Maybe you do some yoga. Maybe you do some mobility work. Maybe you don't do anything. The likelihood that you are able to train for 6 days a week and then simultaneously eat the amount of nutrients that you need to fuel that type of training and sleep at the amount that you need to sleep to recover from that type of training is slim to none. You pretty much have to be a professional athlete to get that level of TLC around your training. And you can only make progress from the amount and the intensity of training that you can properly fuel and recover from. If you cannot properly fuel and recover from it, it doesn't matter what you're doing in your workouts. Your body will not change. All it actually is going to do is start to wear down and break down on you because you are not giving it the proper maintenance and the proper upkeep that it requires. So you need to kind of throttle your intensity days. You should probably only have 1 to 2 high intensity lifting days per week, and then 1 to 2 high intensity cardio days per week. And then the rest of the week should be focused strategically on making sure that your body is primed to do it again the next week. For example, if you know you're going to be doing, 80, 90% max effort on your squats on Monday, then maybe on Tuesday, we already know the legs are going to be fried. Your low back is going to be fried. So we're going to do some mobility work. We're going to do some foam rolling. We're going to do some sauna. We're going to do things like that. Like trying to do the heavy back squats. And then the next day, oh, I'm going to do heavy bench press the next day. Oh, and then I'm going to do a heavy, go back to heavy deadlifts the next day. Like that is a tough task to ask for somebody that's simultaneously going and spending, 8 to 10 hours of your workday in a chair or in a car or on a plane, and then going home and you've got to take care of a family. Like that's a tough ask for somebody that cannot literally revolve their life around recovering. The next is that you want to strategically, progressively overload. A lot of guys go straight from 0 to 100, trying to lift as much weight as they possibly can, trying to push themselves as hard as they can possibly push. I want you to implement the 5% rule. So I want you to take a weight, take an exercise. Let's say that we're doing bent over rows and we're going to start off with 3 sets of 12. I want you to just strategically add one more rep on at a certain, whatever weight that you choose. I want you to add one more rep on until you can no longer add reps. And then I want you to go all the way back down to the 3 sets of 12. And then I want you to add 5 to 10% more weight than what you previously lifted. So if you did 3 sets of 12 bent over row with 30-pound dumbbells, now I want you to, let's say you got all the way up to, 19 reps before you kind of bottomed out at that weight. Now I want you to go all the way back down to 12. Now I want you to use 35, 40, 45-pound dumbbells and then try to get as many reps as you can with that. If you continue to rinse and repeat this cycle within specific rep ranges, you will always be able to progress, and you're going to do it without overly taxing your body because hey, let me add 5% or let me add 1 rep, let me add 2 reps. That way your body is primed for being able to get it, because that's every time you leave a workout and you wake up in the morning and you're a little bit sore, that's because your body is adapting to what you did and it's saying, hey, we need to be strong enough to lift this specific amount of weight this many times, or we need to be strong enough to hold our body weight for this long in this specific movement pattern. And then every time you do that, your body recruits more muscle tissue, more muscle fibers. It aligns the central nervous system so that you're able to actually continue to do these things at a high level. And then it just continues to do that. So progressively overloading slowly is the best way to get the most out of that without risking injury. And then lastly, prioritize your recovery. Please go to sleep. Sleep is looked at as this passive thing. It's almost looked at as a lazy thing. And a lot of guys beat their chest about how little they sleep. Oh, I only get 3 or 4 hours a night and I'm up at such and such AM and I'm not getting home till such and such PM. And then simultaneously trying to get healthy. Sleep is a very active, a very metabolically taxing. We burn a ton of calories during sleep. There's a ton of processes that happen during sleep. And if you want to cut that process in half while simultaneously trying to get in the best shape of your life, you're sadly mistaken if you think it's going to happen. You need to get that high quality sleep in. You need to get adequate protein in so that you can actually rebuild the lean muscle tissue that's torn down through your workouts. You just want to make sure that you're feeling good. If you're dragging yourself into every single workout, if you notice that month after month after month, you're not getting stronger in any movements, like you're still at the same level strength wise in May that you were at in January, that's proof that you're either not properly recovering or you're not properly executing your lifts to be able to actually progress in them the way that you need to. When we started alternating and kind of throttling Sean's intensity up and down and following an actual structured plan where we knew what we wanted to do week after week, he saw amazing results. He got stronger, he leaned out, he stayed more consistent, he stayed injury free. Most of all, he enjoyed what he was doing because now he was building himself up and he was feeling better every day, as opposed to feeling sluggish and drained and like he was tearing himself down just to try to lose some weight. So the moral of the story here is more is not better. The more times you show up in the gym, the more sweating you can do, the more calories you can burn. More is not better when it comes to your training. Better is better. And if you train the right way, with the right lifts, with the right level of intensity, with the right recovery protocols in place, with the right nutrition system in place, you can train half as much. You can eat more food and literally melt body fat. We want to do it the easiest, most sustainable way possible. You don't get any medals for doing it the hard way, and you probably don't make progress either. because there's really only a couple of different ways that you can put lean muscle on your body, that you can strip off body fat. Like there's not a lot of alternate roads that you can take that long term, that's the key, keeps this body fat off. And there's really only one route you can take to put lean muscle on. Getting in the nutrients that you need and recovering properly all have to be a part of the equation. I don't care who you are. So that's it. One of the biggest mistakes that I see with the majority of guys. It's great to work hard. It's great to understand that you need to put in effort, and I'm all for effort. This is not an anti-effort approach by any stretch of the imagination, but you want to make sure that your effort is concentrated in the right place. You don't want to go 100 miles down the wrong road. You want to make sure that your GPS is tuned to where you need to be, and most likely it's going to be a destination that's smoother. It might be a tad bit slower, but it's going to be a much smoother pace and a much smoother ride than the one that you're on 100, then you're on 0, then you're on 100, then you're on 0. So that's it. If you got value from this and you're like, hey, you know what? I need help with my training in order to figure out how I need to train, how I need to recover, how I need to fuel my body in order to drop stubborn body fat, build lean muscle, and get in great shape, click the first link down in the description below. Take our transformation quiz and we'll help you figure out exactly what you need to do to make that happen. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so that you don't miss any more uploads going forward. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.